And then that looks like the Shroud of Turin.
So Veronica's veil. So just the face. So we do have a copy of the Shroud of Turin.
Well, I was just going to say, because I saw that as we came in. Yeah,
but this is something. This is different. This is the holy face. So this is where we get it recorded in the Stations of the Cross, and Veronica goes and comes forward and she wipes the face of the Lord, and on that is then an imprint of his face. And that particular relic is in the Vatican in St Peter's Basilica.
That is an actual relic that's still held somewhere.
Yes. There are all sorts of stories about it, and there are legends about it.
Are there photographs of it?
There are no photographs of it.
As it happens, I did find this image of Veronica on this YouTube channel. Unfortunately, it doesn't help much. Because it's not like the Shroud of Turin, which everyone, which is widely seen.
And it is revealed for veneration on the 5th Sunday of Lent every year, but it's held up in a very high tower, and they bring it out on a balcony, and they show it to the people, and then they take it away again. But copies were made, as in illustrated copies were made, and were touched to the cloth itself in order to make this, and we have such a copy.
Wow, okay.
So this copy of Veronica's veil touched the original, and it says also to the Holy Spear and the relics of the True Cross in St Peter's Basilica in Rome. Now, this image was, I think, later not allowed to be used, but this is such a copy. But sadly, you can't see the date where it's been framed. You can't see the date.
Tell me what you mean. What was not allowed to be used? What does that mean?
Well, I think there was a proliferation of these images, and because no one is sure actually what it looks like, apart from us to make this illustration, I think these images then weren't put into general circulation after a while. But
can't they just be taken as, like the other artwork? It's a genuflection towards.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, you tell me. From your perspective, is this a representation of a physical historical artefact, or is it an artistic artefact? Or is it actually a little bit of both?
It is a little bit of both.
Oh, okay.
I think so. Yes. I mean, I have never seen the relic of St Veronica's veil.
Yeah.
And so I can't say whether this isn't exactly. There are all sorts of learned comparisons that are done between different drawings, different images that have been found, placing this alongside the image that's on the shroud. All sorts of different things have been done in time, which, depending on how you read the scholarship, make one thing more true or one thing more likely than the other. I mean, I'm a great devotee of the shroud. I believe that it is the cloth in which the Lord was wrapped, and I believe that the veil is the veil. I have particularly with the shroud, I have no worries about believing that. I mean, I believe it was the shroud.
On the shroud, wasn't it tested, and it was? Didn't the fibres show? It was
fibres from one corner where it may have been restored.
Okay.
How after the fire?
Yes.
The carbon testing is somewhat doubtful, I think.
Okay.
But there are then other things that are carbon. Well, why, for example, in the fibres are there all of these various seeds that could only have been in Jerusalem at that time? So there's all of that going on. There has been analysis done of the marks on the knees.
Yes.
And the dust that is there is dust that could only be found on that way in Jerusalem. So, and how else was it made? It is not paint. It is not, it is something that is caused by a great amount of light. And the detail, of course, on it is so precise. If you're a medieval forger, you think, as that painting of the Sacred Heart shows, that the nails went through the palm of the hands.
Yeah.
Well, we know that that's not true. They went through the wrists. Well, on the shroud...
How do we know that?
Through, because you'd fall off.
Okay.
Okay. And also, there have been archaeological excavations of people who
have been crucified. Okay.
And so we know that it would be through so that is on the shroud. We also know that on the feet, the nails didn't go through the top of the foot, they went up through the bottom, because someone who was crucified was excavated here in England, and that's where we found the nail going. Similarly, on the shroud, the nail goes up through the base of the foot, not down through the top, as we would see in art. So either the medieval forger had a time machine and was able to get, or there is some source he was using that we don't now have, but I think that's just unlikely. We had a Turin Shroud exhibition in my last parish, and someone came in and had a conversation with me, in which they just said that, that if my faith was based on this one bit of cloth, that was, I must be mad or whatever. And my point to them was that my faith is not based on that. My faith is based on a relationship with Jesus Christ. It's not based on whether the Turin Shroud is true or false. That wouldn't shake my faith if it was discovered to be completely false.
Yeah, some irrefutable evidence.
Yeah.
Yes,
However, its existence deepens my faith and deepens my understanding of the death, passion, resurrection of the Lord. And I was able, during this exhibition, we had a full copy replica of the shroud, to say Mass in front of it. Another priest came to say Mass in front of it. And what a powerful experience that was, to be celebrating the Eucharist in front of that image of the Lord, of the Lord's Passion. It was just very powerful. And so I think if it draws people into a deeper relationship and an understanding of their relationship with God, like this image might, like other images in this church will, then that is only for the good.
I wanted to ask about this, just because of some things that I saw very recently. We've just had the Olympics on television. And you're talking about prayers answered. And I just want to get your spin on how that could possibly work. So you saw athletes directly before they were running, praying, manifestly praying. And I guess they were praying to win. They might have been praying for something else, but I guess they were praying to win. And I don't see how that can work.
I mean, I think
I just don't see how that can possibly work.
I think probably being charitable, perhaps.
Yes.
I think that I would hope that what they were praying for was to do their best. Lord, you have given me these skills, you've given me this talent, you've given me this ability to run these races, to be at the best of this part of the world, and allow me, to express that to the best of my ability.
Yes.
And in a sense, I think if we were praying for our Olympic athletes, we would be praying that they competed well. And so I think that is where the prayer must be directed.
Don't ask for outcomes.
Yeah.
Ask for actualization. That's probably a better way of putting it. Yeah.
The hardest part of the Lord's Prayer is "Thy will be done." Alongside the need to forgive others as we ourselves are forgiven, is saying to God, your will be done. This is not about me. Whatever your will is, whatever you're calling me to, whatever you're asking me to do, it is your will. Thy will be done. And I think that must be the focus of Christian prayer. When we're in difficult situations, or when we're in times of struggle, or we're not sure what to do, praying, thy will be done. Lord, I'm in a complete mess, but your will be done. What is it, Lord, that you want of me? How can I see what it is that you have called me to is what is so important.
I want to start a huge conversation about free will and fate and whether God is an interventionist God or not. I'm going to restrain myself.